The issue of capitation for students is causing a jittery in Ruto's regime, and this could be seen evident by the anger exhibited by the CS for Treasury, that is Ruto-Mbadi. They may seem to be talking on different issues as they are exhibiting, but they are all on the same page. In fact, I'm wondering why cause all these fuss while they are all speaking the same language. It's one system. Let us listen into Ruto-Mbadi.
I want you to get me clearly about capitation to schools. This is what I said, and this is what I'm repeating. For so many years now, from the time Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, we have been under budgeting for capitation to schools. That is why you hear principals saying that they have not received money. But the government is saying we have released all the money. The mistake is when we tell the schools that every child we are budgeting for 22,000 and they are not receiving it, the schools end up accumulating debts. Therefore, we need to be candid and say that yes, we want to budget for 22,000 per child, but we have not been having that in the budget. And I was not speaking in a funeral. I was not speaking in a political rally. I was speaking to policy makers. I was speaking to members of parliament who approves the budget. And I told them we must enhance the budget for capitation so that every child receives 22,000. What we have in the budget today is less than 22,000. If you want me to lie to Kenyans, I am not ready to lie to Kenyans. We must budget so that every child is supported as the policy says. And this has been happening from the times of Uhuru. We don't want schools to accumulate debts the same way universities have been accumulating debts. And so we must work with parliament to make sure that we have enough money to run our schools. It is not, I cannot lie to Kenyans, and I'm not ready to do that. I have to put facts as they are. The budget that we have is kidogo, tutaongeza. The government will make sure that we have enough money to support our children in school.
CS Ruto-Mbadi, first of all, I would love to really know who is that one person who wants you to lie to Kenyans, or who are this group of cabals who want you to lie to Kenyans. Whatever you are saying, yes, makes sense, because at one point, the government will say that they have released money for capitation, but they won't say how much has been released for capitation. Now, remember, they are budgeting with the 22,000 per head of the children who are school-going children. But as it is, the allocated budget is sufficient for 16,000. That is at least according to what Ruto-Mbadi is saying. And he says, as he was addressing this, he was not in the political rally. Rather, he was addressing policy makers who are our members of parliament, the lawmakers who actually approve the budget. So it is within their capability to make sure that they approve a budget that is higher and sufficient to contain the capitation budget. Now, as soon as the CS made the first statement, the following day, we saw the president coming and telling the nation, you should not be worried, relax. Nobody is cutting away funding for schools. The free education that is in Kenya, the primary and secondary education, will still go on. Nobody's doing that. But remember, that is not the question that the president ought to have answered. The question that the president ought to have answered is because nobody said that education is now not going to be free. You understand? What the CS did say was that the capitation now was from 22,000 back to 16,000. At least with some figures on top, we a difference of over 5,000. You understand, the Kenyan shillings, that is. But now, that question was not addressed by the president. He is the one who will have said, yes, it is true what the CS said, but we are looking into it. Because as it is, it seems like one person said that education is not going to be free, and we didn't listen to that anywhere. Now, why are we having quotas within the government acting as if they are fighting themselves, whereas I see no reason to cause a fuss? It is an issue of miscommunication. You understand? And when CS Mbadi says he can come and lie to Kenyans, yes, it is good. But who is it that wants you to lie to Kenyans? Because as it is, the government always says we have released money, so the schools in turn will be expecting money. Therefore, they run into debts because of the huge amount they were expecting. Unfortunately, they receive monies that are not enough. Whereas we also have schools receiving capitation, and they are ghost schools. So the problem we are having as a nation is not inadequacy in tax collection. It is not in terms of few avenues of revenue collection. No. What is ailing the nation is the extent to which corruption has been deep rooted in this nation. And that is the ghost, but we should be fighting both physically, spiritually, emotionally, and economically. I mean, that is the detrimental ghost that is haunting the nation day in, day out. So, CS Mbadi and President William Samuel Ruto, I see no need of you both having separate addresses to a public gathering, referring on the same matter, which both of you are speaking the same language in a different way, and you want us to believe that there is a difference between you. And you see, this might be blown out of proportion. And we might feel like, the way Mbadi plays it is like they wants the population to feel like the government is now starting to hit back into ODM. Remember, it's politics at the end of the day, hitting into ODM. Then ODM in turn will be justifying their reasons for having one foot outside of the government and one foot inside the government. Then at the end of the day, the push and pull between these two persons will be to satisfy their greed, their bargaining chips on the table, at the expense of our children who are getting educated in our schools with insufficient funds from the government. Later on, we are going to see teachers on strike. As we speak, schools are closing earlier than they should have. Why? They lack enough capital, they lack enough money to sustain these children. So the best thing to do is to let them be back at home, and that burden be shared with the parents. So at the end of the day, no matter how you look at this, it's a political fight. It's a political fuss that is being created here. Popularity is going down, and people are trying to measure how far have we gone with this. Do we still have the masses? Can we still control them? Because why should a man and his wife come out and try to wash their dirty linen in public? Don't we have structures within the government whereby these people sit down, do a briefing to the president, and before releasing a statement, they have all discussed and are in agreement with what is to be said? Or do we have separate governments? I understand. Yes, the ODM did say we donated our experts to go and aid the regime. And so far, this is the best the experts could have done. I feel there is this wing of the government being controlled by Raila Amolo Odinga and the other wing controlled by William Samuel Ruto. And now, that is where there is a hullabaloo. There is where drama is coming in from. With people like Oscar Sudi and, Kipchumba Murkomen and others now trying to elicit their doubt in ODM. But what did you expect? You are just reading a script that you persons did write. You are playing along by the script, and the person who is going to be fooled by this is the Kenyans who are not using their third sense to make sure they look keenly and deeply into whatever connotations you politicians are saying. Like I always do, I don't always focus on the said. I focus on the unsaid. And that is why I said both of these people are saying the same thing in a different language. It has been reduced from 22 to 16. The president says, we are not cutting off free education. It is the same thing. The only thing that he ought to have answered is it true that you are reducing the capitation? That will be enough to avoid all these fuss that we are seeing. Anyway, what do you think about these games and the conundrum of such politicians in our time and generation? Give us your take in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Halif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dab Radio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dab Radio ndio mpango mzima.